I learned a lot about the craft of writing from Stephen King, but there is one Stephen King writing advice I don't agree with. Curious what it is? Be sure to stick around to find out. Let's get started! Hey guys, Nour here, and welcome back to my channel. For those visiting for the first time, hello! I'm the fantasy author of the novel Divinity Falling. Be sure to subscribe for weekly writing advice videos. Okay, so I'm just going to hop into the topic. In Stephen King's book on writing, he shares a lot of great writing advice, and I agree with all of it, except one. He says, "In my view, stories and novels consist of 3 parts." Then he goes on to list those 3 things: narration, description, and dialogue. You may wonder where plot is in all this, he continues. The answer, my answer anyway, is nowhere. I won't try to convince you that I've never plotted any more than I try to convince you that I've never told a lie, but I do both as infrequently as possible. I distrust plot for 2 reasons. First, because our lives are largely plotless, even when you add in all our reasonable precautions and careful planning. And second, because I believe plotting and the spontaneity of real creation aren't compatible. It's best that I be as clear about this as I can. I want you to understand that my basic belief about the making of stories is that they pretty much make themselves. The job of the writer is to give them a place to grow, and to transcribe them, of course. If you can see things this way, or at least try to, we can work together comfortably. If, on the other hand, you decide I'm crazy, that's fine, you won't be the first. Well, I don't think Stephen King is crazy, but I don't have to agree with everything he says either. Here's the thing, back in college when I first read this book, I thought, well, Stephen King knows what he's talking about, so therefore, plotting is wrong. And I stuck by that mentality for a long time, even though I'm a plotter. And guess what? The book I tried writing without plotting failed miserably. It's now shelved for a later date. Here's the problem with Stephen King's advice on plotting. It doesn't take into consideration that not everyone is a pantser. Some people thrive on writing spontaneously, like Stephen King, but other people, like me, are clutter-brained and can't form a cohesive story without laying it all out in advance in an outline. Either way, both plotters and pantsers plot. It's just that pantsers do it after they write their first draft and have a feel for their spontaneous story. So there is no right way to start writing a story. A big part of why I wanted to make this video is to warn new writers about listening to writing advice. Here's the thing, there's a lot of great writing advice out there, but while one writing advice may work for some, it might not work for all. And if I learned anything from Stephen King's writing advice on plotting, it's that I should listen to writing advice and then choose what works for me. Nothing is a hard rule. Now, don't get me wrong, a good story still requires well-rounded characters, a strong plot, good dialogue, and so on. You should still show more than tell and avoid pointless filler. But if there's a rule out there that you don't think would work for your story or a scene you're writing, then I think you're allowed to break that rule. As long as you understand the rule and what it does, you can break it with style. And if a famous author tells you to write something in a certain way, if that method doesn't work for you, then you could politely choose to ignore that advice. Even my advice on this channel. When I make my videos, I'm highly aware that my writing advice won't work for every single writer. Everyone writes differently, so it's natural that not everything I say is going to work for everyone. So if you're a plotter, create that outline that will help you organize your thoughts before you write. And if you're a pantser like Stephen King, be spontaneous and go with the flow your story takes you. There's no right or wrong, just do what works for you. So that's all I have for you today. I'd love to know, are you a plotter or a pantser? And do you agree with Stephen King's advice on plotting? Let me know in the comments. If you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. I put out weekly writing advice videos that will take your story to the next level. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media to see what I'm up to from day to day and to chat with me. And before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out to Sarah Frayne and Alan G. Early from my shout out tier over on Patreon, as well as all my amazing patrons. Thank you all so much for your support. I really appreciate you. And remember, Nour for president!